Now I'm going to be recording this piece, and there are two pieces to the recording. Part one is a video, which just started a moment ago, of everything I'm doing right now and everything that my screen sees. That video will later be posted to YouTube, and a link will be sent out that you can access if you want to come back and watch what we did. The chat feature on the right-hand side, when you use that feature, it automatically saves at the end of your session. So whatever we do today, however many questions we have in there, I haven't had time to even review the one from this morning yet, everything will be saved in that chat feature. So if your students are typing things in there, you'll have that saved for later to go back and look and say, oh, Johnny had a question, or Jimmy had a question, or something like that, and you can go back and address those pieces. So that's an important feature. You can record every call. What I want to start out by doing is showing you the easiest way to get into Zoom and start meetings like this one. And that is going to start with your Clever website and your Clever login. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys now so you can see my Clever login. And here it is. And what I want you to see on here is I'm going to log in as a school district employee using my Lawson number at HCPS. Oh, I'm still logged in from earlier. I apologize. You log in Lawson number at hcps.net and your district password. Now you can see I've already favorited Zoom. You can see Zoom is right here in the middle. I made it one of my favorites. But if you haven't done that yet, when you scroll to the bottom of your Clever page, under More Apps, you'll find Zoom waiting there for you. And if you're not familiar with Clever, it's very easy. Any apps you find on here, if you just click on that little heart right there, that's going to make it a favorite, and it's going to show up then at the top of the screen like mine does here. The e-lessons that your content supervisor is sending out can also be found here. And you can tell these are from when I was teaching at James last spring, but there's now a whole ready resource piece for K5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. Please know, as a Department of Professional Development, we are working on several videos that are going to come out to you in the next couple of days about how to use these resources as e-lessons with your students. So that's a separate training than today. Today's just about using Zoom with kids. All right, so I'm going to click on Zoom, and if you've already created an account, it will, I guess I was not logged in. There we go. If you already have an account with Zoom, it'll log you in automatically. And when you do sign up for a Zoom account, it is extremely important that you use your district email issued account. Do not use a personal email or anything like that. What triggers them to give you the upgraded plan with no time limit is the fact you've used your district email account. And you can see right here at the top of mine, we've lifted the 40-minute time limit for you automatically because you've done it that way. This page kind of shows you a profile of what you are. This is my district one, and you can see I have the same 100-person limit that you guys have. And again, there's no time limit on what I do. The main important piece of this page, there are two things you want to be able to look at. Number one is the meetings tab over here on the left-hand side. So when I click on meetings, you can see I have 2 meetings scheduled already. And I can actually go look and see if I had any previous meetings. But I just told you guys I'm using my Florida Southern account, so previous meetings won't show up here. But I can create a new meeting very simply by clicking on the Schedule New Meeting button. While there are multiple ways to start a meeting, I like this one the best because it allows you to set up certain things ahead of time that are going to make your task easier. And I'm going to show you those right now. So I'm going to click on Schedule New Meeting, and you'll see I got a chance to title it. So I'm going to call it My Fake Meeting 2. And by the way, laugh at me all you want. All right, because I can't hear you anyway. I'm going to make my meeting for Wednesday the 25th. I'm going to set it up for 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This duration piece is not really important. It's kind of like just how it goes out as a calendar remind. Even though I've only set up our meeting for 2 hours, I can go on for 3, 4, 5 hours. It will not kick me off. This is more of if you're going to send a calendar invite, that will allow you to be able to have that piece set up that way. So that's 2 hours there. I set that up. If you want to have a recurring meeting, somebody on the call earlier today asked me, I said, hey, Scott, I'm going to have my students from this class come on every day at 10 o'clock. That's where this recurring meeting would come up. It will give you settings for recurring meetings if you don't want to keep setting up the same thing over and over again. I let it set up my meeting ID automatically instead of me having to figure out numbers. And then down here, this next section, ladies and gentlemen, is the most important piece here, the video segment. By default, when you set up a meeting, it has video as off. So you can see that right here, okay? You can turn your host video on, your participant video on, if you want to. Now, I did both today for us because I want to see your smiling faces and all your homes. No, I'm just kidding. I want to see your smiling faces. But if you're doing this with students, you may want to consider clicking off for participants. Now, that is a hotly contested subject right now, and I'm sure we'll get a bunch of questions, DMR and Carrie, about that. The district is recommending that you have video off for students unless it's something your principal has previously okayed. So I would definitely talk with your principal about it, and he or she will let you know what they plan to do as a school, and that way you guys are all on the same page. If you are going to record your calls, let's say you record it because not every student can make it, and I'll show you where that button is in a moment. If that's the case, you definitely want video off for students because of FERPA rights. You can't put the kid's page, you can't record that video, put it on YouTube or Edsby or somewhere else, and then everyone can see that kid. So definitely something to consider here of the off for participants. Audio, basically I leave it as both because some people may call in, they may not have an opportunity to have a phone available that has a video option. This last piece, meeting option at the bottom, this one I never check enable join before the host. Notice none of you can get in the meeting till I let you in. So that's a very important piece. Mute participants on entry. I checked that one today because I wanted you guys to come in muted. Instead of having 95 people, I'll go, hi, I'm here. You can imagine what that would sound like with 95 folks. Enable waiting room. I also used this feature today because I wanted you guys to be in a waiting room waiting for me so I could admit you. That allowed my two colleagues, DMR and Carrie, to come on first, and the three of us had a conversation before I let you guys come in. This would be the same way if you were maybe co-teaching. So if you are an ESE co-facilitator with somebody and you both were on a call together, before you let the kids in, you could do that and say, my role is going to be this, and my role is going to be this. And by the way, all of us individual teachers now are really like saying, I wish I had a co-teacher right now to be answering these responses in the chat, because I know they're going nuts. Every time you guys chat something, I get a notification. I've not looked at one of them yet. Authenticating users, I don't deal with this one. Record manually. This means it'll record it automatically for you. And when we get done, I will show you where the video gets saved on your hard drive. You may want to set this one up to make sure it records automatically. Then all you do is hit save, and you'll see it'll generate this nice page that gives me calendar invites. It gives me the meeting ID, the meeting password, the link, and this is where I was able to copy that invitation I sent out to you guys earlier, or Aaron sent out for me via PDS, because just like you guys, I've been locked out of PDS half the day too. We have a few folks that can get in, and they sent it for me so you guys can get in. Notice it has information down here about what I want to do and what other things I want on my meeting. And I can start the meeting at any time from this page, or I can go back to my main meetings menu and see I now have 3 meetings set up for this week. Okay. The last thing I want to show you on this page that's really important is up here on the right-hand side where it says resources. This is where you can download the free Zoom client. If you're on a computer, you definitely want to do this, as well as a phone or a tablet, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. If you've downloaded the client before and haven't done it lately, there have been some updates. I'm going to show you some newer features. You may want to go here and download it again. That's this link right here, download Zoom client. There are other features over here, such as settings you can play around with. That's entirely up to you. We don't have time for that today. Recordings is only stuff that's recorded on the web. I make it record to my hard drive, ladies and gentlemen. It's so much easier, and that way I know where it's at. So that's about it for the website page. That's what's going to give you information to get in. What I'm going to show you guys now is what it looks like when you get into Zoom itself. And give me just 1 second. I'll bring you guys back to me. All right, so this is the invitation page that you will see when you log into your Zoom, your particular Zoom. And notice what I told you guys before. If you look here, you can see you've got several options. You've got a new meeting option. I don't use this one because I've already scheduled my meetings. You've got a join option. If you had already joined a meeting, or like I know we have a webinar later today for our staff. If we have one like that, I would click the join option. You can schedule them from here as well. You can work on sharing your screen from here as well. There's a lot of features that come up on this particular page. And notice here too, it also has my next webinar. Now I did the screenshot this morning, but this is the one from this morning. And see the little 3 dots here? I can click on that, and that's where I copied the invitation as well. So another place to copy the invitation. And of course, I can start my meeting whenever I want to from this page. The nice thing about the client is it gives you a lot of different resources. And what you end up getting is you get a window, and I'll show you guys what my window looks like. So this is what my window looks like. And you can see this is from a call earlier today. And you can see I've got the chat feature over here on the right. Down at the bottom, you can't see it on this screenshot, but you guys should all have various icons that we're going to go through in just a moment and what each one of those are and what they do. But this kind of shows you the gallery view. Now, I'm not sure what view you have right now. When we go back to the main screen, though, you have 2 options. You have the option of the gallery view where it looks like this, like a Brady Bunch, or you have, and it's really annoying when you do it, it's the speaker view. And every time someone new speaks, it changes the picture in front of you. So if you like that kind of thing of going through the channels very quickly on the TV, go for it. If not, the gallery view works better for you, especially when you have a smaller number of participants working with you. So that's that piece. The other one I want to show you that's also at the bottom. Give me just 1 second. Are these various controls, and you're going to see them in just a second. So there are various controls you have for your chat. Now, everybody has the 2 on the left-hand side. These relate to you and your video, the mute button and your video button. So you can start and stop your own video, and you can do something called the virtual background, which I'll show you in a minute. And my friend somewhere in the middle there is on a beach. Right? Whoever you are, you're at a beach. It's very nice. I didn't know you lived on the beach. That's okay. I have a file that says manage participants. This is where I can go to let you guys in or out of the chat. I can mute all of you at one time. I can unmute all of you at one time. I can stop all your videos. I can start all your videos. And this is where I went to the waiting room as well. Everybody has a share feature at the bottom of their screen. And when you are the host of the chat, only you can stop your own share. But if one of your students is sharing, you can then unshare them and you take over sharing. So that's a default setting. You can play around with that piece and make it different. But I like this feature because if I'm sharing something with you like I am now, none of you can try and share back with me. Sometimes you'll have an annotate feature. That's for when you have a whiteboard. I'll show you in a minute. I could let people remotely control my computer, which I'm not going to do. And there's always more options as well. So this feature gives you a lot of different things that you can look at and a lot of different opportunities to include your students. So we'll go over some more features in just a moment. I mentioned participants. Managing participants is really important. When you do start a meeting with the weight room like I did today, this is kind of what it looks like. So Barb and I were on earlier today, and you can notice over here, Barb and I were in the meeting, and these folks were in the waiting room. Now, what I love about this feature is it allows me to admit you one at a time. So this afternoon, I admitted Carrie and DMR one at a time. Then I came up here to admit all and admitted all of you at one time, and you all just came pouring in at one time, and your video popped up and you saw me. So that's a really neat feature here. Down here, you can see Barb's camera was off, microphone was on. You can see that there's always a red line, and it's in red when it's off. And there's a more feature down here I'm going to show you that's really cool concerning muting folks. So let me show you this one. Remember I said you would have no right to open up your own microphone? Well, here's what that feature is. This is that same window, only I've clicked on more this time. And you can see mute you all on entry. allow participants to unmute themselves. I have unchecked that, so you can't unmute yourself. I also have, you can rename yourself, which we'll talk about in a minute, and participants in a waiting room on entry. Now, this feature here, you may want to be careful because some of your students, when they come online, they may show up with a different username than their actual name. And when they go to rename themselves, they might rename themselves Doofus or something like that, or something inappropriate. You know your kids. You can also rename them manually, and I'll show you that feature in just a moment. Okay. And then again, the waiting room, just so you guys know what the waiting room looked like for you, there is a chat feature in the waiting room. And did you all get, those of you who were there may have gotten a message from me in the waiting room, but notice here there's a chat feature down here where I can actually turn on the chat for the waiting room and send you guys a message as well. So a very, very powerful feature for what we do in this piece. A couple of key settings for you guys as far as doing things for yourself is to look at virtual background. So I'm going to change my background right now because I'm tired of being in my office. And I'm going to go to a waterfall in Iceland. So there we go. I'm in a waterfall in Iceland. If your program is updated enough, meaning you have the latest version of Zoom, when you go and click on the arrow that is right next to video, you will get this little pop-up. And notice I have an opportunity of which camera I want to use, video settings, and then of course choose virtual background. When you click on virtual background, if your computer is new enough, please understand some computers cannot handle this. My laptop can't handle it. If your computer is new enough and you click on this, it'll give you some default backgrounds, but there's also, and I'll show you this window now, there's also a feature, and here's mine, where you can click this plus and add additional photos. So this photo here in my really ridiculously looking picture is a background I took in Ireland, and this is a background I took somewhere else. These are my pictures I took. So you can do that, put your own pictures, or use one they've given to you in that process. While we're talking about buttons and features, a really good point, some of you like using tablets and phones, and while they are fully compatible with the Zoom platform, they are not true multitasking devices. And what I mean by that is you may see me look elsewhere on the screen than right at the camera because I'm clicking on something. I'm clicking on a document. I'm going to show you the share feature in just a moment and how that works. But when I look to that and I click off of this window, I'm still moving. I'm still talking. You can see me. You can see my face as I'm looking at elsewhere. If you are on an iPad, Android tablet, iPhone, Android phone, and you click off the screen to do something else, it freezes your face immediately. Now be careful, because I did this with my students when I was overseas a couple years ago using Zoom. I switched the window and I was stuck like this. So you want to be careful that you don't get your face stuck like that. I learned it when I went back. I'm like, oh my gosh. So next time I had to go off the window, I went like this. And then I hit that button. So that's a big piece that's really important to understand. I see a lot of questions come in. I will answer some of those at the end if I haven't gotten to them. As far as sharing, you can share almost any document that is on your computer, and that is a really neat thing. If you are using a Windows computer or a Mac computer, does not matter. The key thing about sharing is, number one, have all the things you want to share in a folder that's easily accessible. So I have created a folder with all my screenshots. I just keep taking screenshots of stuff so that I can come back and show you guys what it looks like, okay? That's number one. Number two, you want to make sure that you open that document before you try to share it. So for example, I just took another screenshot to show you what my screen is looking like. I'm going to open it in the background, and now I'm going to go share it with you. And this is the window we're looking at right now. You can see Carrie had a pop-up message there to me, and all of your, and look, I got myself in a great pose again. But you can see my sharing feature right here, my chat feature right here. You can see all the same buttons that you probably have on yours. We'll get to breakouts in a moment. We're not there yet. But have that document open in the background, because when you do, and you click on Share Windows, you will get a box that pops up like this. Now notice I'm on a computer with 2 monitors. So this says I can use desktop 1 or desktop 2. I can share the entire desktop with you. The only flaw I have found in Zoom is you can't share what I see with you directly, which is why I'm using all these screenshots. If I try and share my screen, you won't see any of my Zoom windows. You only see the stuff in the background. So it's a pointless feature. They haven't fixed it yet, even though we've put a recommendation in. We're going to talk about the virtual whiteboard in a moment, but you can see these are all the windows I have open on my computer, and I can share any one of those with you. All I got to do is click on that window and click on share. So in this case, I'm sharing a screenshot of my share feature with you so that you can see what this window will look like. If it's something you want to share, you need to have it open in the background. The question we got early on when we were developing all of these webinars, they said, what about if I'm going to do a PowerPoint? Great. We're going to have a class like that tomorrow about it's going to have a PowerPoint background. Open the PowerPoint first, then go in and share it. So you got to have it running in the background first to make that work. Okay? So that's the sharing feature. Now, what you will find is each one of you also have the option to share, and I have given you that option to share, but you can't interrupt somebody else. So whoever's the first to hit their share screen and get something up, you're going to be the first one to share with us at this point. We'll see when it happens. Nobody's there yet. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Janine. As you can see, we're sharing Janine's screen with us, and she has control of it until either A, I decide I don't want her to share anymore, or B, she decides she doesn't want to share anymore. Nobody else can interrupt her at this point. It's only myself. So if you'd stop your share for us, please, Janine, we'll give somebody else a try. Thank you. Anybody else want to try while we're here together? Okay, thank you, Samuel. So you can see Samuel's document. Hey, he's taking notes. Good notes there, Samuel. Thank you very much. Yep. Okay, go ahead and unshare if you would for us. And I can see this as a really neat feature when I'm working with students, whether it be something that we're reading together, it might be out of a textbook, it might be an article, it might be something I've taken a picture of. You can share anything that's on your computer. Anything you can get in your computer can be shared very, very easily, however you want to scan it in there. Maybe Sammy will share those notes. I like that, Janine. Yep, yep. So there we go. Somebody else has shared. I didn't catch who that was at the moment. But again, a great opportunity for you guys. Now, I do want to show you the whiteboard. So I'm going to take control back. And I'm going to go into the virtual whiteboard, which is one of the really neat features. In this mode, ladies and gentlemen, only the presenter can start the whiteboard. And the whiteboard gives you a lot of opportunities. I have text opportunities where I can write a problem and ask my students to solve that problem. I can draw on this screen with a pen. I can add stamps and stickers. I can also erase things as I go along. Now, each of you, when you look at the bottom of your window or up at the top of your screen, you have a floating window. You should have something that says View Options. And you should have something that says Annotate inside View Options. So View Options and Annotate. Once you get in there, you will be able to actually join me and somebody figured it out. There you go, and draw on the screen. Now you as the presenter, so me, I'm the host, I can go back and erase anybody's stuff or all of the stuff at one time. We're gonna do breakout rooms in a minute, and what's really neat is you can do the whiteboard in a breakout room as well. So I'll get to that in a few moments. You're very welcome, whoever wrote, thank you. Again, a neat feature, something you can do with students online. It depends on how many you have going at one time. We're sitting at 91, I think. So kind of tough to monitor what everybody's doing here. But again, this is more of a section to show you what this feature can do. So again, to get to the whiteboard, I went to, and I'm going to close you guys out for a minute. I went to Share Screen, and in my Share Screen, I have a whiteboard option. I did not clear the whiteboard, so everything is still there throughout my chat. I can save what's in the whiteboard as well. I do have a save option on my end of things. So as we go through this process and kids are solving problems or I'm showing stuff, I can save it to use with another class or whatever I want to do. And it will again save on my hard drive. I also have this neat feature where I can clear the entire screen just like that. Clear all option. So that's the virtual whiteboard. Let's see. Changing how your name is showing up. This is really important. If you hover your mouse over your picture, you will see 3 little dots come up in the top right-hand corner. If you click on that, there is a rename feature. And you can rename yourself such as Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so in case you don't want everybody to see your name or your first name, your last name, or however you want to show up in that piece. So that's a possibility for you as well. Okay, somebody had a question about stickers. Stickers is part of that annotate feature in the whiteboard. We can go back in there at the end if you guys want to play around some more. I just have a few more things to get through with you before we get to that point. Okay, so I'll come back to that question. Yes?
A couple of questions that we've had while you were teaching.
Sure.
Can students record or is it only the teacher who has access to record?
Only me.
Okay.
Now, but you have some tech savvy kids out there, they can probably screen record.
Okay.
And so every computer has an option to screen record. And I would just be careful about what you do and don't do on that particular chat.
Another question we had, is there anything that needs to be downloaded with Zoom? And if so, a lot of teachers don't have access to those privileges if they've brought home a district issued laptop and whatnot. Is everything through the app in Clever?
You can get to everything through Clever, yes. You should be able to download the app itself. Tech folks at your school should hopefully be able to help you, distantly of course, get this installed because it makes it that much easier. It really does.
And then there was a question about using a document camera, I guess, in conjunction with Zoom. Is that a possibility or is a feature built into Zoom kind of comparable?
You can use a document camera. You can connect it. I've not done it myself, but there are, for example, when I go to my share screen, and I'm going to show you guys the one that I had earlier, just because it kind of helps explain this feature. Here's my share screen from earlier. Notice right here, it's got the option of my iPhone, iPad via AirPlay, my iPhone, iPad via cable. So anything you connect to the computer could be shared, yes.
Okay, that's all for now.
Mm-hmm. All right, great.
So,
yep.
Sorry, there was a question about how do you take a screenshot off of your laptop when you're working? Can you go over that real quick?
It depends on what kind of computer you're using. Those using a Windows computer, there should be a button somewhere on your keyboard that says print screen. The second you press the print screen, it takes a screenshot of what's on the screen, and you can then paste it into a program like Paint or Word and edit that screenshot. If you're on a Mac, which is what I work off of, it's a whole lot easier. The command key in Mac is Command, Shift, and 4. Command, Shift, and 4, and that allows you to then size whatever screenshot you want, which is what I did for the ones I did for you guys. So each one has its own feature, but I've also seen folks sitting there with their phone taking a picture of what's on the screen as well, and that serves the same purpose if you can get a clean enough shot. Great question. Okay. What I want to do real quick is I want to show you one more window again before I go into the breakout room feature, and you'll find that breakout room feature is really cool and what you can do. I'm going to give you guys this window again, and I want you to see down here at the bottom, this is what my side looks like. Very different from yours at times. Again, these two controls over here to the left, the mute and the stop video, are only for me. It's only things I can do from my own screen. This invite feature, I would invite somebody if I didn't have the code already set up. So if I didn't set it up ahead of time in the Zoom website like I did and I showed you guys the first part of the lesson, I would go here to invite somebody. Manage participants is where I went to see who was in the waiting room and let them in or not let them in. It's also where I went to tell you guys that you were going to be muted automatically when you came in and not let you unmute yourself. That's all in this spot right here. If you think about this one feature right here, you have a class of say 22 or 25 kids, or like my son teaches at Newsom High School, is looking at doing a class of maybe 30 kids and doing 3 of them. because you can do up to 100 people, you're going to have them come in all muted, or you're going to hear every sound in the background. And then you can individually unmute people. For example, Mrs. Hickey, I'm going to unmute you. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
All right. And now, Janine, I was going to unmute you, but you don't have a microphone. I don't know what happened to you. All right, Givens, you're on. Go.
Hi, everyone. I don't know if you have trouble with my microphone.
No, I can hear you good.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, hear you perfectly. So again, I can mute and unmute you guys individually, and I'm going to show you the raise hand features, the last thing we're going to get to before we do the group, the chat piece. So that's all here in Manage Participants. I can unmute, mute, and do that. And then if a kid raises their hand, I can go in and let them in. We've done the shared screen. This is the toggle for chat. Most of you found that. There is a recording button down here at the bottom. So again, I'm recording this chat right now, and everything that my screen sees is going to go in there, and I can stop it when I'm done. This is the breakout room feature we'll get to in just a minute. All right. Each of you down at the bottom of your screen should have a button that says Participants. Go ahead and click on that. And when you get into that window, you will see an area where it says Raise Hand. You can actually raise a virtual hand. And what that looks like for me is I see a little blue hand in the corner of your screen. So Miss Hickey, you have your hand up, and I can actually lower the hand for you, unmute, and say, yes, Miss Hickey, what did you want to say? And then I can mute you back in. Miss Sovereign, I can lower your hand, I can unmute you, and well, I'm trying to unmute you, it won't let me. Let me do it again. I don't know what's going on with yours, it won't let me unmute you right now. You are silenced, I am sorry. Beth, we're gonna go to you. How are you, Beth? All right, glad to have you here. So again, another feature you can use, and just so you guys know what it looks like from my side of things, this is what hand raise looks like for me. And you notice here that you see the hand is up, and when I hover over this window, I can click on lower hand, and that'll stop them from having their hand up, and I can let them talk. Okay? So those are those neat features. The last thing I want to show you guys is the breakout room and kind of how it works. There are two ways to do the breakout room, but I'm going to give you guys a couple of upfront warnings. I have not yet figured out, and again, I've got 13 chats this week at least on doing this, so I'm going to get really good at it by the end. I've not figured out yet how to monitor all of the rooms at one time. So that's one thing you want to be careful of. You do have two ways. Oh, I see one. I'm going to stop real quick. Ms. Pelfrey, so can students private chat with each other? If you set the setting as no, they cannot. So the way the setting is set up right now in my chat is you guys cannot chat with each other. I'm going to show you the chat window again, because I want you to see this piece. That was a great question, and I'm sorry for stopping midstream, but I need to answer this one. You see this piece down here where it says everyone? I have a 3-dot window over here. When I click on that, it lets me change the settings so that students cannot chat with each other. They can only chat to the whole group. Great question, definitely an important piece, because you can't monitor those private chats, and you know what kids do in private chats. We all know it. Doesn't matter what age level they are, they all do things in private chats that we don't want them to do. So you can private chat with them, but they can only chat to the entire group. Great question. So back on the breakout session, when I click on that window for breakouts, it gives me two options. Option number one it gives me is I can do it automatically. It also lets me pick the number of breakout rooms. So I'm going to show you guys this window real quick that has my virtual breakout window. Give me just 1 second while I screenshot it. So this is the window you get when you go to do breakout rooms, and only the host can set up breakout rooms. It gives me 90 participants assigned, and I'm assigning you guys to 10 different rooms, which is going to be 8 to 9 people per room. And notice I can do it automatically or manually. Now at 90 people, I'm not going to do this manually. There's no way I'm going to put you guys in rooms. So let it do automatically. If you had a class of 18, 20, 24 kids, and you've already got them in groups you've been using for a while, when you click on manually, it gives you a list of who's in the class, and you can then put them in which room you want them to be in. So I'm going to create breakout rooms. And you guys are going to go into them, and then we'll see you back here in a little bit. And as you can see, I can join your breakout room as well. Now, when you guys move in here, you can unmute yourself so you can have a conversation. You also have full access to the share feature, and you can share the virtual whiteboard without my help. So you could assign students into a breakout room to create a whiteboard, and then you can actually save that piece if you go that route. All right, I'm gonna let you guys talk for a minute, and I'm gonna jump to a different room. Hello, breakout room 10.
What's up?
You guys should have figured out you can unmute and mute yourselves. That's a really neat feature here. You also have full access to the share. So you can actually share the screen, and you can share the whiteboard and work on it together while you're in here. All right, I'll let you guys talk for a minute, and I'm gonna go to a different breakout room, okay? Hello, breakout room 3.
Hello. Hello.
I guess you guys figured out you can unmute yourselves, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, and you can also share and do the whiteboard feature as well. I'll let you play for a little bit. I'm gonna try and visit all the other ones, okay?
Okay, thank
See you
you.
guys back in a few minutes.
Whole time you're hogging up the screen.
Hi, breakout room 5.
Hello.
As you see, you've been able to unmute yourselves as well, and you can also use the share feature in here, such as the whiteboard or document, so you could have students work on a problem on a virtual whiteboard together, and then save it and share it back. Now, it doesn't go back automatically. They have to save it. So somebody will have to save it to their device while they're in here.
Kathy's in my breakout room.
Yeah, so again, I'm showing you what the features are, but I'm gonna go to one more room and then we're gonna come back. Enjoy.
Okay.
Hello, breakout room 8. You guys can unmute yourselves, by the way, if you haven't figured it out.
Hi, Scott.
Yep, and you
Hey,
can also
everyone.
use the share screen feature while you're in here. So that's a very important feature for us as well. I'm gonna leave you guys. I'm gonna get everybody back into one room together, okay?
Okay.
Sorry about that. I somehow got muted when I came back in. Thank you, Carrie. I didn't see that pop up. So again, let me go back because you probably didn't hear everything I said. These are the 3 chats I've saved so far. This is one I did yesterday, one I did this morning, and the one we're doing right now. When you are done with the chat, you get an audio version of it. You get the chat window where people are typing all their questions and stuff. You get a Zoom file, an MP4 that you can play, upload to YouTube, anything you want. So this video is going to actually be used as a self-paced course for folks that want to go through on their own and figure out how to use Zoom. But it's a really neat thing to have it archived, and then you can show it back. Or if you had students who missed the class, you can show it back. They can see everything that's going on during that piece. And again, it saves under Documents, Zoom. If you're on a Mac, you have a Documents folder. You're on a Windows machine, you have a Documents folder. You will find a new folder called Zoom, and it will archive every single one. So like I said, I've got a bunch of these going on this week, and I'm going to end up doing a whole lot of that throughout the week. So what I'm going to do now is we're kind of at the end. I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to try and address any questions that are still there. Before I let you guys go, though, I want you to realize 3 very important things here. Number 1, we're going to have some bumps along the road. We're going to have some hiccups along the road. Things are going to work and not work. Like I just forgot to unmute myself when I came back out of the chat room. Those things are going to happen. We're all learning this process, and I've been doing online training for a decade now, and you still have hiccups here and there. So realize that's an important piece. Number 2, as long as you are trying and doing the best thing you can for your students and trying to provide them with instruction while they are at home and can't come to school, that is the most important thing that can happen. I've gotten so many thank yous to our district staff because we worked the entire spring break pretty much, getting this stuff ready for you guys. So many thank yous. But that's what we're here for. We're here to service you guys, because the third thing is you guys are the front line. You are the frontline folks. You are out there every day with kids, and now you're going to be online with kids. And if we as a department, you have a PD specialist in your area, DMR is Area 5 South, and some of the central schools, Carrie, who's on with us, is Area 5 East, and some of the central schools. There's someone for every area that can help you. If you need to know something, please reach out. Understand that while I've been on this chat, I've gotten 40 emails, so I may not get to you right away, but I think I finally went to bed last night at midnight after I finished answering emails. We will get to you. We will help you. We're here to support you. That's our job. There are helplines as well that the parents can call into, you can call into, but we're a resource too as well. So if you're figuring something out on Zoom and you can't figure it out, you want to send me an email, feel free. I will get back with you. If you want to invite me to one of your chats and I'm not online at that time doing something else, I'll pop in and help you moderate that chat. That's not a problem. That's why DMR and Carrie are here for me today. There's no way I can manage that chat window and do this at the same time. So that's the third thing. We're here for you guys to support you any way we can. That's our job as PD and as district folks. So what we can do to help you, let us know. I'm going to stop the